Oh, good. All right. Is everybody here? All right, ready to roll?
And Nancy's on.
And Nancy's on. Oh, good, good. Ooh, I slammed that kind of hard. The meeting of the Iowa Board of Regents for June 12th, 2025 will come to order. I will begin by calling roll. Regent Dunkel. I know she's on. Regent Barker.
Here.
Regent Hensley.
Here.
Regent Rouse.
Here.
Regent Weiswick.
Here.
Regent Gipple.
Here.
Regent Jaden.
Here.
Regent Kramer.
Here.
Regent Bates is present. We have a quorum and the meeting can proceed.
Now I'm here.
And Nancy Dunkel is here. Thank you, Nancy. Okay. Are there items board members would like to remove from the consent agenda for a separate vote? Regent Barker.
Yes, the items on the Property and Facilities Committee meeting, on the raising of the buildings, and the tower project.
Is this all in here? A motion and a second are required to approve and receive items on the consent agenda.
I'll move.
Regent Hensley moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Regent Jaden. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote. Regent Dunkel.
Yes.
Regent Barker.
We're on the consent agenda minus those items.
Minus
Yes.
those, yes. Regent Hensley.
Yes.
Regent Rouse.
Yes.
Regent Weiswick.
I wanted to make a note. I'm going to abstain from the SUI CAN bus maintenance facility expansion project, but I vote yes on all the remaining consent items.
Thank you. Regent Gipple.
Yes.
Regent Jaden.
Yes.
Regent Kramer.
Yes.
Regent Bates votes yes. The motion is approved. So do I do this one? We're not removing them. Make sure. Regent Barker has called for items regarding University of Iowa Hospital to be removed from the consent agenda. A motion and a second are required to approve and receive item. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Regent Barker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Regent Hensley. Is there a discussion? Okay. We'll go ahead with the roll call vote. Regent Dunkel.
Sorry. Yes.
Regent Barker.
No.
Regent Hensley.
Yes.
Regent Rouse.
Yes.
Regent Reiswick.
Yes.
Regent Gipple.
Yes.
Regent Jaden.
Yes.
Regent Kramer.
Yes.
Regent Bates votes yes. The motion is approved. At this time, we have a special presentation to make to the Board of Regents Executive Assistant Laura Dickson. Laura, if you could come forward. Laura is retiring, and this will be her last meeting. I'm going to sit while I read this. Whereas Laura Dickson has served as the Board of Regents office staff for nearly 20 years, having served as assistant to the executive director for nearly a decade, and is attending her final board meeting June 10th through the 12th, 2025, prior to her retirement. And whereas she has served as the point of first contact for those dealing with the board, providing a friendly voice and helpful demeanor to get people the information they need when calling or visiting the board office. And whereas she provided direct support to board members, assisting them regularly in a prompt, friendly, and thorough manner, and also collaborated very well with university and other board office staff on the logistics and execution of all Board of Regent meetings, whether held on one of our campuses or in Urbandale, making sure details are handled and providing for smooth operations. And whereas her family has been the first and foremost in her life, husband Joe, 2 daughters and sons-in-law, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. And whereas in retirement, she and Joe plan to travel more, including visiting extended family while spending additional time with family watching her grandchildren and their activities, attending concerts, reading mystery novels, and whereas she was always there to support others with a positive can-do attitude, a laugh, a friendly greeting, and leaning on her faith to always look out for the needs of others. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Iowa Board of Regents expresses its deep gratitude to Laura Dickson for her expertise and dedication and publicly acknowledges her for extraordinary service and contributions to the Board of Regents, its universities, students, families, and all Iowans. We're both in white. I wonder what that means. Yeah, we have to have a picture. Oh. We're gonna miss you. You cry. It's a good time. It's a good cry. It's a good cry.
It is.
Oops. Thank you, Laura, for coming up here. I know that wasn't probably in your agenda today. So now I'd like to recognize each university president to report on recent activities at each institution. We will begin with President Wilson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, President Bates. Welcome, all of the regents. I want to especially welcome Regent Jaden to the board and to Iowa City and to spending time with us. I hope you've had a great visit. We've enjoyed hosting you and always love that you spend time with our students, and I know you're going to spend time with faculty too. So I'm just going to give a brief update of some things that have been happening on campus. And this won't take very long because I know we've got lots of business, but I like to just go over a couple of highlights. We've had a lot of excitement around graduation this spring. 5,497 total students graduated across we had 16 different ceremonies this spring. And I attended 9 of them. I probably would have done more than that, but sometimes they're double booked and I can't do 2 at once. But lots of happy people, lots of happy families, and lots of examples of great students going off to contribute to the workforce development and healthcare of our state, which is, of course, what we're really excited about. So I thought I'd just share a couple of examples. Here is an example of one of our recent graduates, Eric Dow, from Story City, Iowa. He received 2 master's degrees from the Tippie College of Business, and he's just accepted a position as a financial analyst at Collins Aerospace, where he had an internship for a year-long period, so that turned into a job for him. And I love that he said, you know, we prepared him well with the technical skills, but what he really benefited from was learning how to problem solve, which is really what we want all of our students to be able to do as workforce issues change over the next decade or 2. Here's another great example of our contributions to healthcare. Genevieve Martinez is from Atlantic, Iowa. and she graduated from our #1 public college of nursing here at Iowa. She got a BSN. She's going to work now in our ED, so she's interested in emergency room health, which is really an important area, and particularly interested in mental health issues, and you heard a lot about that yesterday from our folks in student life and student affairs. And she comments that she came from a small town of 7,000 people, and coming to Iowa City represented a very huge lift for her, but she said she felt right at home from the beginning, and I love the fact that she represents a lot of rural students who come to our big city and find their way through the mass of students here. So we are laser focused on national awards. We talk about that all of the time. I mentioned some of those to you earlier in our in a separate meeting. And I just want to highlight a couple of things, maybe just one that we're really excited about that I didn't mention. We have 2 great faculty. Some of you may have heard of Ed Stone and Val Sheffield. They both work in ophthalmology, doing amazing work on uncovering and figuring out cures to macular degeneration and to glaucoma, issues that affect many, many, many Americans. And these 2 just received the Helen Keller Prize, which is a national prize that it really gives their work an incredible amount of highlight. And we're working, as you know, the provost office now has a special office really focused on making sure we elevate our faculty, give them the visibility they deserve, and the national and international recognition. Here's an example on the student front, so it's not just our faculty. This is an amazing student who just won a Goldwater Scholarship. These are very competitive. There's only 441 awardees per year across the country. They are undergraduate scholarships for students pursuing research careers in math, natural sciences, and engineering. And Saren Castanello is a 3rd-year student from Waukee, Iowa. She is spending this summer at Harvard as part of an NSF program. She wants to pursue a PhD in biology and genetics. And her advisor says she is fearless and also incredibly curious. So amazing that she won one of these of 441 awards across the country. So we're really excited and very proud of her. Of course, our research continues to impact Iowans and people across the country and indeed across the world. Just sharing one example of something that you might not even think of, and I often don't think of, but here's one of our faculty members from biomedical engineering, and Professor Snyder's just is an amazing faculty member, and he has expertise in biophysics and in high-performance algorithms, and he's working on figuring out how drugs intersect and get absorbed into the body. So here he is in engineering. He's collaborating with people in the Carver College of Medicine, and he's doing amazing work that most of us wouldn't understand, but that will be incredibly impactful in terms of thinking about drugs and drug impact on the human body. We're spending a lot of time on student support, and you all have heard me get very excited about student retention and about our efforts at increasing graduation rate. But one of the programs that we didn't talk about as much, and we probably should have, is the John Deere Scholars Program. And I think you've hopefully seen some media coverage of this. This is an incredible corporate partnership that we've developed with John Deere just very recently. It's the first of its kind in their portfolio. And they've committed $6.6 million to the University of Iowa to develop this John Deere Scholars Program. The goal of the program is to support 20 scholars a year, undergraduates, and provide 90% of the costs of college. So that includes tuition as well as other costs, room and board, and fees and such. And they also are providing mentoring and guidance for these students. And the goal from Deere's perspective, from John Deere's perspective, is to make sure more students go to college. So this is a partnership between John Deere, the Davenport School District, and the University of Iowa. Part of the funding is also to place a full-time person in Davenport to work in the high schools to help students with readiness for college, filling out FAFSA forms, understanding kind of the pathways to college. So we just anointed and celebrated the first 20 scholars for this program. We spent an evening in Davenport at the John Deere Global Center, and the parents were there, the young people were there. There were lots of tears, and these are young people that are going to come here and change the world. I'm convinced of it. And the thing that I'm really impressed about with this program is they've put no restrictions on what students major in. So many of them are interested in medical school and other things, but a couple of them are interested in writing, and I think it's really forward thinking of John Deere, because they believe so much in the power of college education, and they want these folks to come back to the community and make Davenport a better place to live. So when it's finished, we'll have 60 of these scholars on campus, and then it'll just keep rejuvenating, and hopefully the gift will keep going. But I think it's a great example of what corporate entities can do when they believe in the power of higher ed, and when we work with them directly to make sure that there's this kind of model and success. So that is the last of my comments and just some brief updates. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has
Are there
any.
any comments or questions? Regent Barker?
Just one, Dr. Stone gave me a tour of his laboratory a while back, and it's absolutely amazing. I mean, world-renowned, absolutely cutting-edge research. Very simple goal, ending blindness, and they're really making progress towards that.
Yeah, their work is amazing and supported in part by the Carver family, so it's really important. And it's great that he's getting recognized at the national level, too.
Absolutely. Anybody else? You know, two things. Thank you for hosting us. Everyone at University of Iowa, it's been very nice, so thank you, and thank you for your report.
Thank you. Thank
Right.
you.
I'd like to recognize Mark Nook, President Nook, please. And
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure again to have an opportunity to talk a little bit about the University of Northern Iowa and our students. Given the time of year it is, I'm sure you're going to hear from all three of us about how commencement went and the remarkable things that our students are doing. One of the things that, as I greet each of these students that comes across this stage, I remind myself of is that they couldn't be here without the faculty and staff of our institution, the Board of Regents, and the things that people around this state have done to create these universities. And so as I share some of these stories, as all of us share some of these stories, be reminded that there's so many people behind this happening on our campuses, but also then the support of families and loved ones and things, everybody that's wrapped themselves around these students. Again, at the University of Northern Iowa, we wrote a purpose statement a few years back that says that our purpose is to enrich lives, communities, and the world through our students, faculty, staff, and alumni, and you'll hear stories about that enrichment. We do that in really three ways. We create an environment where everyone can reach their academic, their professional, and their personal life goals, and you'll hear stories about that and see how that is implemented. We also empower individuals to build strong senses of purpose, of community and responsibility, and we really do this especially through our student organizations, and so we'll talk a little bit about that as well today. And then finally, we innovate ethical solutions to the problems of our time, and you'll hear a little about that as well. I got it. There we go. Some scenes from our commencement exercise, and I want to talk just a little bit about some of the individuals that are on this slide. We had nearly 1,600 graduates walk across the stage this year, this spring for commencement in 3 different ceremonies. It represents 22 different countries, 28 states, and 96 of Iowa's 99 counties. Nearly a third of our students identify themselves as first-generation students. This spring, we had some remarkable achievements in that we had the first principalship cohort from the Des Moines Public Schools that enrolled through a special partnership between UNI and the Des Moines Public Schools graduate and cross the stage with their diplomas. In the Wilson College of Business, we had 6 MBA students who completed all their work in Shanghai. We have an MBA program that operates in Shanghai. Our faculty go there, teach the courses on weekends, and come back. And there were about 15 students that actually graduated. 6 of them chose to come to the United States and walk across the stage and spend some time at UNI. I had an opportunity several years ago to go to Shanghai and actually participate in a ceremony there. These students are so appreciative of the opportunity to get an education, to get an international education. They really come from around the world and happen to be working in Shanghai. And it's just wonderful to have them come to our campus and see how excited they are to actually be at the institution that has sponsored their education and supported them. We also set a record this year in that we had 30 graduates of the Doctorate of Education degree. It's the largest cohort of doctorates in education that we've ever had, so it was an exciting time for us. As you look at some of the images up here, the image in the top, in the middle, I want to talk a little bit about. This is Pat Lyons. He's a local community leader and the president and CEO of Ideal Industries in Vinton, Iowa. He received a bachelor's degree and an MBA earlier in his life from 2 of Iowa's private institutions. In 1997, he came to UNI to complete a second baccalaureate degree, this one in psychology, and completed that degree in a year. And then started a graduate program, a master's program in psychology. And as he says, you know, life happens, and he kind of left. He didn't really, quote unquote, need the degree for advancement as the president and CEO of the company he was running. But he always felt like he'd like to finish it at some point. And our dean of the graduate school, Stephanie Hoffman, unrolled a program here a year ago, returned to UNI to complete, especially master's degrees, graduate degrees. And the new Master's of Arts degree in Independent Studies was the one that would allow him to complete this degree. He did it working with a faculty member in psychology, Helen Harton, who was his advisor when he completed his first degree back in 97 and 98. And his first year as an undergraduate with her was one of her first years, and she's retiring now. So he felt really great about being able to be one of her first students and then to receive his master's degree and to be hooded by her. So he is a tremendous community leader in our community, and it was really a lot of fun to be able to award him that degree. On the bottom middle is Marvin Carr, and he is a Navy veteran, and you can see how proud he looks in this image, and his pride is really in the university, and his pride is in his country. And you can see it. It's not necessarily, he is proud of his service, but as you talk to him, it's about serving others. And his pride is for the United States, for the University of Northern Iowa. He came to us as a Navy veteran and became an immediate icon on our campus. As he came to the campus, he's living in one of our residence halls. He immediately started to help students find their paths around campus, not just physically, but emotionally, and just helping them connect and find purpose for their life and find responsibility in their lives. He works for us in the facilities and athletics, always very helpful, and actually helped many of the other younger staff that were starting out figure out how to be helpful and how to be supportive and how to be service-oriented. He was also very, very involved in our veterans group on campus, serving in leadership roles there, and he was recently named one of the state's heroes for service by Mercy One. They have a recognition every year, and he was named as their military hero. So Marvin is going to leave some really big shoes to fill, and fortunately, I've gotten to know him very, very well, and I know that our friendship will last for a very long time. The young woman that's in the bottom right image is Giselle Herrera, and she is not related to our provost, Jose. They just share a very common last name. She just received her MSW, Master's of Social Work degree in Advanced Trauma and Informed Practice. Giselle was a student as an undergraduate on our campus, completed a degree a couple of years ago. She was very active on our campus in student government, in UNIDOS, our Latin student support student organization. really developed great leadership skills as she worked in those various student organizations, and got to know her very, very well. And she's currently serving as an admissions counselor in our admissions staff, but continuing her education and looking for a professional career. But she's won recruiting students in Minnesota and Marshalltown, Wisconsin a little bit, but a tremendous advisor. And as you can see, a great deal of pride and joy as she was received her diploma that day. The University of Northern Iowa, I'm just pleased that they do this. It's one of the great ceremonies. Every spring, Student Life hosts a recognition of student leaders on our campus and honors students with awards for their outstanding leadership. I want to talk just about the individuals that are in the upper left image there, because they are the ones that receive the Lux Service Awards, but nearly 24 awards are awarded at this ceremony, with the Lux being the most significant. It is our highest recognition for exceptional service among our graduating students. They have to be graduating that year within that 12-month period, and they have to have been engaged in at least 2 of our on-campus student organizations. They also have to carry a very high GPA and have shown outstanding leadership. The first person in that image, the person on the far left, is someone that you may all recognize. That's Elizabeth Montalvo, who served last year as our student body president, and the year before that as the vice president. She's been very active on our campus, working with Jump Start Scholars, which is for students who are in the TRIO program in high school, helping them move in successfully to college, and Panther Ambassadors, and which helps students that are looking at UNI decide that UNI is the right place to be. But Liz has always had a focus on helping other students and opening doors for other students. She recognized that it was juniors and seniors ahead of her that opened doors so that she could have opportunities to do great work. And she is very committed to helping students that are coming after her know where those doors are and how to get them open so that they can be successful as well. The student in the middle is Delaney Nagel, who is a triple major in accounting, management information systems, and business analytics, and she's originally from Waukon. That should be enough to keep anybody busy, but apparently Delaney is extremely organized and has a little extra time on her hand. She put a lot of work into and was a leader in our Women in Business organization as well as the accounting club. And you know, her approach was really that it's important to recognize and uplift other people. She's a caring person, a person that really wants to help people be successful and is always looking for ways to lift them up, especially as she moves into leadership roles. And the third person in that slide is Samantha Robinson, who's a communication science and disorders major from Cedar Rapids. And you know, she was involved, the organization that she really had an impact on was Dance Marathon on our campus. She's one of the student leaders in that. Dance Marathon is connected with the Children's Miracle Network and raises funds for young children in the Stead Family Children's Hospital. And Dance Marathon's been extremely successful, and it fits well with her career path in the health sciences, in communication sciences and disorders. What she says is that the programs and communities that she's been a part of will continue to thrive because they were built on passion, teamwork, and shared commitment to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. Her goal has been to leave things better than she found them. And she hopes she did at UNI. It's very clear with what she helped build as we came out of COVID to build back UNI Dance Marathon. She's had a significant impact on that organization, on the lives of people on our campus, but also those at the Stead Family Children's Hospital. So how do all these wonderful achievements happen? How do students earn these degrees, and how is it that the university supports them? And of course, a hallmark program at the University of Northern Iowa is our Educator Preparation Program, which serves nearly 2,500 students in multiple education prep programs. The Regents should be aware that in the state of Iowa, 50% of all teachers produced in this state come through the Regent institutions, 50%. That's remarkable. 50% of that population comes through UNI. So it really is an extremely important program in our state, and we value that and steward that very, very carefully because we recognize the importance to the state. We just went through the reaccreditation process with the Iowa State Board of Education. They reaffirmed that accreditation through the 2030-2031 year. This program is, as I said, the largest in the state, and it serves more than 20 undergraduate teaching majors and 6 graduate programs, plus a list of minors and endorsements and some graduate certificates. UNI teachers can be found in 99% of Iowa's school districts and all 99 of our counties in the state. So congratulations to the College of Education and the Education Preparation Program. Our institution was again named as a military-friendly university. This is the 6th year in a row that we've received this status, this year attaining gold status. We were also named a military-friendly spouse school, supporting the spouses of military as well. The military-affiliated students at UNI see university support in many ways. UNI just held the annual PTSD Awareness and Suicide Prevention Conference on our campus for veterans, which attracts many military-affiliated learners. Military and Veteran Student Services also offers numerous events throughout the semester for veterans, military students, and their families, so that they have a level of support. We recognize what they've done for our country. We also recognize some of the barriers that they're going to face as they move from a military life into a public life, a civil life, and especially moving from military life into a university setting. So provide the level of support to help them make that transition. And people like Marvin Carr are really important in that as they come in, learn what it takes to be successful, to be mentors to the new veterans as they enter our campus. And we work closely with them to help develop those skills to continue to build the next generation. Chiquita Lovelace is the Assistant Dean for Students and Family and Military Programming, and she was just recently selected to lead the regional NASPA Military Connected Conference. She'll also be the keynote speaker for the 2025 Ford Motor Company Veterans Conference in Detroit, which will attract more than 250 veterans, and the United Auto Workers Conference in Black Lake, Michigan, where there will be more than 600 veterans in attendance. So congratulations to Chiquita, and thank you for all she's done to build our military-friendly campus, along with Henry Korf, the director of the program. We had a group of students that won the District 9 National Student Advertising Competition. We have an organization on campus that's associated with the American Advertising Federation. On April 11th, the team traveled to Kansas City, Missouri, and presented their winning ad campaign. The campaign was set up by AT&T. And what AT&T was asking is for them to develop a campaign to make Gen Z individuals crave AT&T. Most Gen Zs have never heard about AT&T. They've never dialed a phone. They don't know about Ma Bell. And so exactly, you don't buy your cell phone from AT&T, but AT&T connects it to everything, right? But that isn't well known. So it was a pretty big lift. How do you get Gen Z to realize that AT&T is a brand platform that connects, and their slogan that they asked to build around was "Connecting changes everything." And they were very impressed with the ad campaign that this group of 25 students put together. The amazing thing about this is these aren't all advertising students. They pulled together a group of students from across the campus. Somebody that handles the media aspects of it. Somebody does the research and pulls the data together. Others actually do the graphic design and build this. So it is an interdisciplinary approach. And Professor Matthew Wilson, who's an assistant professor in marketing and entrepreneurship, is the one that leads this student organization and works with them. They start their work in the fall and then enter the competition. They went to the semifinals and finished 9th in the nation The top 8 get to move on to the national competition, so they just missed it by 1 spot. So, you know, as we think about March Madness and making it to the final 8, the grade 8, they were 1 spot away. They more than made it past the Sweet 16. So congratulations to Matthew and all of these students. They were very excited as they brought the trophy by my office so that I could see it and we could get a picture together. One of the things that the University of Northern Iowa does that I'm extremely proud of is reach out to our community. We used our facilities to do that. The Gallagher Blue Dorn Performing Arts Center has recently completed the addition of the Marquee Lounge, and it's really helped us serve students that come in for what we call the Kaleidoscope series. We bring in acts from around the country, around the world, and make those available to students in our grade schools and high schools, but especially our grade schools. Nearly 40,000 students a year pass through the Gallagher Blue Dorn to see these performances in the performing arts and gain a better perspective of how the arts touch their lives and what the arts can mean. They have, over the years now, since this program started, reached more than 800,000 youth in the state of Iowa. They regularly work with students from half of the counties in the state, but through now online programming, they reach students in every single county. They reach students out of state and even into Canada with their online programming. So it's really a tremendous opportunity for students to engage in the arts who, living in small rural communities, may not have that opportunity to get to those sorts of events, but with a bus ride to UNI and an opportunity to see some world-class programming. With that, thank you. I hope that you can see through this that those students that walked across our stage were supported in so many ways, but really supported each other. The thing that's always impressed me is the number of our students who talk about, yeah, the faculty set high standards. They want you to get over those standards, but every other student wants you to get over those standards as well. It's not a competition to see who can get over the standards. It's a competition to see how many students we can get over that standard. And that sense of community is something that we're all very, very proud of. So thank you very much. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for President Nook? Okay, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your presentation. I'd now like to recognize President Wintersteen from Iowa State.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to add my welcome to Regent Jaden. And of course, we want to thank everyone for your leadership, important role on the board. So to begin, we had a wonderful set of commencement exercises, just as all of the other presidents have mentioned this morning. We had 5 ceremonies where we celebrated our graduates. 4,770 students graduated from Iowa State University. If you look closely at the slide here, you'll see in the corner there's Regent Jaden providing the diploma to his daughter Claire, who graduated in supply chain management. We don't know if that was exactly legal or not, but we decided that we could do that. I was standing behind him closely just in case there was any question. So we were pleased to provide that opportunity to Regent Jaden. But what a wonderful day. We always say the happiest day of the year is commencement. No one has any complaints. Everyone gets to see their child, their grandchild, their sister, brother graduate. So very special day at Iowa State University. Great. Thank you so much for your help. We take very seriously our responsibility to prepare graduates for success, and I want to highlight a few of our outstanding graduates and their post-Iowa State University plans. Here's Madeline Moline, who grew up on a farm in rural Calhoun County near Mason, Iowa. She earned her degree in agricultural biosystems engineering, and she shared her most valuable classroom experience was in ABE 4100, where she learned how systems within vehicles communicate with each other. Did you know they do that? Yes, they do that today. And she said the knowledge she gained will be extremely valuable in her new career as an engineer for John Deere. And there's Alex Bray from West Des Moines originally. He earned his degree in microbiology, and during his time at Iowa State, he completed multiple internships with Corteva Agroscience in Johnston, where he gained on-the-job experience identifying genetic traits for corn and soybean varieties, and now he's pursuing graduate school in plant pathology. Thank you. And there's Elijah Moore. He is one of our Hickson Scholars. I think you know about the Hickson Scholarship Program that awards well, not quite a full scholarship, but a $20,000 scholarship to one student from each Iowa county that has significant financial need and has really experienced some struggle in their lifetime. He's graduating with a double major in psychology and philosophy, and during his time at Iowa State, he used the Digital Media Studio in the Student Innovation Center to launch a podcast. And he interviewed more than 90 faculty during his time at Iowa State, and I was pleased to be a guest on his podcast last year. And he's going to continue his podcast at the University of Oklahoma, where he's accepted into the PhD program for social psychology. And there's Alexis Shrike. Originally from Greenfield, Iowa, she earned her bachelor's degree in accounting and interned with Principal Financial Group as an undergraduate, and she'll continue at Iowa State to complete her master's degree in accounting and join Principal full-time. There are just a few examples of the high caliber students that graduated from Iowa State this year. Graduates stay in Iowa after they graduate from Iowa State University. And here's just some of the data that you can see here. And we believe this is the class from last year, but here's what we will expect to see from the class that graduated this year. So we believe in workforce development at Iowa State University. So going on to the next slide, we were honored to present a very special degree this spring. 73 years after completing his last class at Iowa State University, Ray Carroll was awarded a posthumous degree in agricultural business and rural administration. Ray was a World War II Army Air Corps veteran who attended Iowa State on the GI Bill in 1940s and early 1950s. He died in 1966, having never received his degree, despite completing all the requirements. So his son, Chris, spent decades trying to find out why, and ultimately, with the help of several colleges and university administrators, he was able to get the information needed to be able to document the process for Ray to get his degree. And so this spring, he received his posthumous degree, and it was able to be presented to Chris, his son, and Chris's sister. And the father's diploma, you can see being awarded to them at the graduation ceremony. So such a special event. And I don't know if you saw it, but it was covered by KCCI in the news. So many people saw it, at least in central Iowa. Special ceremony at Iowa State University. So going on to the next slide, we have another way to celebrate our students' success at Iowa State. And on April 30th, we had our first university-wide signing day. That was Signing Day. The Career Services offices in each of our undergraduate colleges coordinated this event to recognize students who accepted an offer for a co-op, an internship, a research experience, graduate school, or a post-graduation job. So students posed for photos to share their success on social media. And it's also an opportunity for our career services staff to promote the continuation of resources and support they offer to students. So it was another fun way to lift up the fact that our students are going on to success, whether it's while they're still at Iowa State or post-graduation. So another great way to be out on social media with the success of our students at Iowa State University. So the next slide, we'll take a moment to celebrate 2 College of Engineering faculty who received National Science Foundation Career Awards. And this is the National Science Foundation's most prestigious award for early career faculty. Luke Rowling is an assistant professor and the Jack R. and Carol A. Johnson Faculty Fellow in Chemical and Biological Engineering. His research is addressing the issue of nitrate pollution from industrial wastewater and nitrate movement from agricultural fields. He's doing this using computational modeling to design new electrocatalysts to convert nitrate to inert nitrogen gas or ammonia. Chin Wang is an assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering. His work is to address growing challenges associated with artificial intelligence and its high energy and resource demands. Dr. Wang is developing hardware systems to support AI that are both scalable and energy efficient. So going on to cybersecurity for Iowa farmers and rural businesses. This is a new Iowa State initiative to improve rural cybersecurity that has received national recognition for its impact and innovation. The Cybersecurity for Iowa Farmers and Rural Businesses program educates farmer and rural businesses owners on best practices to safeguard digital assets, financial records, and sensitive farm data. The program is a partnership between the ISU Extension and Outreach Farm Management Team and Iowa State Center for Cybersecurity Innovation and Outreach. It's supported from USDA, National Institute for Food and Agriculture, and the North Central Extension Risk Management Education Center. And the program has already reached more than 2,600 farmers and through 133 programs and online resources. And the program was recognized through the Outstanding Project Award at the 2025 National Extension Risk Management Education Conference. The team also plans to launch a new project, Crisis Management for Smart Farming Systems on Iowa farms, to protect farmers who are using internet-based smart farming technology. ISU Center for Cybersecurity Innovation and Outreach, directed by Professor Doug Jacobson, is also partnering with the state and leading the state and local cybersecurity grant program. And this center is providing cybersecurity assessment planning, training, and hands-on cyber incident management exercises to strengthen the state's cyber defenses. And this is through communities all across the state and through the Office of Management at the state. So finally, our last slide is to welcome the new dean for our Ivy College of Business. Raj Agnihotri was selected through a national search that resulted in 4 finalists coming to campus. Dr. Agnihotri currently serves as the Ivy College of Business Mary Warner Fellow, a Morrow Professor of Marketing, and the Assistant Dean for Industry Engagement. He's received numerous awards for his teaching and research and is co-author of the textbook, ABCs of Relationship Selling Through Service, which is used in sales classes around the world. He earned a bachelor's degree in engineering from the University of Pune in India, an MBA in management from Oklahoma City University, and PhD in marketing from Kent State University. He begins his tenure on July 1. So there's a short update from Iowa State University, a little bit about our students, the success of our faculty, and programs through extension that we're offering around the state in cybersecurity.
Are there any questions or comments?
Great. Great.
I would like to thank all the presidents. Thank you, President Wintersteen. And there is a duplication with the commencements, but isn't that why we're here? We start with the students, and we love to see the end result, so thank you. We'll take a 15-minute break. We'll go ahead and resume the meeting. I now recognize Brad Berg from the Board of Regents office as we consider tuition and fees for 2025-26.
Thank you, President Bates. Before the board today are the proposed tuition mandatory fees and the common and university-specific fees for the 2025-26 academic year. UNI's 3 new proposed rates for undergraduate non-residents from the states contiguous to Iowa, as contained in your docket on page 13. Those proposed rates were based on funding that was included in the Education Appropriations Bill. And with the governor's recent veto of the funding for that initiative, we'd like to take action on those 3 rates at a subsequent meeting. The proposed undergraduate resident tuition rates include a 3% increase for the University of Iowa and for Iowa State University, with University of Northern Iowa's increase being 2.7%. The board's also asked to approve the allocation of the student activities and services fee as well as the building fees as recommended by the student fee committees at each of our campuses.
Okay.
With that, I'd be happy to respond to any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. A motion and a second are required to approve the following. The proposed tuition and mandatory fees for the 2025-2026 academic year as outlined in the agenda item, effective with the fall 2025 season, with the exception of UNI's proposed undergraduate non-resident rates for students from states contiguous to Iowa, and B, the allocation of the Regent University's mandatory student fees for the 2025-26 academic year as outlined in the agenda item, and C, the proposed common and university and program-specific fees for the 2025-26 academic year as outlined in the agenda item. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Regent Rouse. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Regent Hensley. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Regent Dunkel.
Yes.
Regent Barker.
Yes.
Regent Hensley.
Yes.
Regent Rouse.
Yes.
Regent Reiswick.
Yes.
Regent Gipple.
Yes.
Regent Jaden.
Yes.
Regent Kramer.
Yes.
Regent Bates votes yes, and the motion is approved. So now I'll turn it over to, we have a David Barker for compensation.
Yes, I move the following on presidential and executive director compensation. For Executive Director Braun, increase his base salary to $176,384, effective July 1st, 2025. Establish a new deferred compensation plan commencing July 1st, 2025, and terminating June 30th, 2027, with annual contributions of $230,000. And delegate to the board president the authority to negotiate and finalize a retirement incentive agreement to be effective July 2nd, 2027. For President Wilson, increase her base salary to $825,000 effective July 1st, 2025. For President Wintersteen, increase her base salary to $735,000 effective July 1st, 2025. And for President Nook, increase his base salary to $410,000 effective July 1st, 2025.
There's been a motion by Regent Barker. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Regent Reiswick. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Regent Dunkel.
Yes.
Regent Barker.
Yes.
Regent Reiswick.
Yes.
Regent Hensley.
Yes.
Regent Rouse.
Yes.
Regent Kramer.
Yes.
Regent Gipple.
Yes.
Regent Bates votes yes. Regent Jaden.
Yes.
Okay, I saw that as I had written the wrong, thank you. So, and Regent Bates still votes yes, and the motion still carries. Thank you. So now at this time, let me welcome University of Iowa Provost Kevin Kriegel, who will introduce the faculty presenter.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to reintroduce Professor Tom Schnell, and he was one of our recipients of the Faculty Awards luncheon yesterday, so I'll just be brief in my bio for him. You heard some of it yesterday. So he is a professor of industrial engineering, specializing in human factors ergonomics. He's got degrees in electrical engineering, industrial engineering, and currently holds the Captain Jim Max Gross Chair in Engineering with a secondary appointment in the Department of Neurology at Carver College of Medicine. As the founder and director of the Operator Performance Laboratory, he oversees a leading flight test organization with a large number of aircraft test beds. He also recently took over as the director of our Iowa Technology Institute. Professor Schnell is a commercial pilot with over 7,400 hours of flight time with helicopter, jet, and glider ratings, and he's flown over 50 different types of aircraft. He is an experimental test pilot and an instrument flight instructor on airplanes and rotorcraft helicopters. And I think all these experiences qualify him for the University of Iowa's Top Gun designation. He will share with you his research focuses, which are on manned, unmanned autonomy teaming, human factors in flight, display symbology, handling qualities, unmanned aircraft systems, integration with U.S. airspace, pilot spatial orientation, and operator performance assessment. And all of this is based on a lot of integration with AI, which he's been doing as a lead for a lot of corporate entities and U.S. military, Air Force, Navy, that has then used his technology in their work as well. He uses neurocognitive and physiological sensors to evaluate cognitive function in real-world and simulated environments and studies human visual performance and visual enhancement systems. Dr. Schnell is affiliated with several professional organizations and has led over 427 projects totaling more than $38 million for the university and authored over 145 publications. So turn it over to Professor Schnell.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. Can you hear me okay? I'm not sure if the microphone works. Dear members of the board, dear colleagues of the faculty and staff, dear students, it's a really great honor to be here, have the opportunity to talk to you today about the Operator Performance Lab, or OPL, as we call it. In the following 10 slides, so slide number 1 of 10, I will attempt to summarize the past 27 years of my work at the University of Iowa and indicate the direction of OPL's future heading. With this picture that I'm starting out with, I would also like to introduce you to our chief pilot, Herky the Hawk. OPL is a member of the Iowa Technology Institute and always has been since the day I started in 1998. ITI has been around much longer, of course, 44 years, with currently 27 faculty principal investigators bringing in something along the lines of $10 million in externally funded research every year. I cannot even begin to explain how amazing the innovation, creativity, and productivity is that these folks at ITI demonstrate every day in the service of the University of Iowa, the state of Iowa, and our great nation. ITI is conducting research in many fields, including advanced manufacturing materials. And this slide does not do the breadth of research any justice. I'll get into what you're seeing here in a minute. Biotechnology, human modeling and simulation, systems and sensors, the environment, medicine, energy, and aerospace and defense, which is mostly my area. Looking forward, and with an eye towards the bigger picture, ITI will continue its amazing drive in innovation, and together we will work on topics such as aerospace, atmospheric science, defense, with an eye towards cutting-edge applications in AI. The picture on the left represents our intention to expand our work into the field of space-flown sensors, largely funded through NASA Earth Science Ventures. The picture on the right is from a recent event where we are conducting ongoing work in AI integration, in airborne autonomy, and continued involvement in 5th and 6th generation tactical aircraft. And you can kind of see the nose of one of those. You may have seen the announcement a few weeks ago, sticking its nose there into the picture. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. The OPL is unique, and I can explain in the Q&A why I think that is in more detail, but I'm not aware of any other school that has a flight test organization like ours. In the picture on the slide, you can see 3 of our fighter jets returning information from a first-of-a-kind flight to test tactical autonomy with AI, flying the 2 yellow jets for a Lockheed Skunk Works project. I'll explain that in a little bit. I will start that by saying that the most important asset at the University of Iowa are our people that work and study here. And I'm not just saying this as lip service. In our work at the OPL, flight testing using fast jets, helicopters, and complex systems, we rely on all team members to do their jobs reliably, accurately, honorably, and without cutting corners, because it is flight testing. You can imagine how important that all is. We expect this level of quality from all members of OPL, including our students, from day one. Through our work with the Air Force Test Pilot School, or TPS as it's called for short, OPL has been designated as an institution that TPS graduates may select to earn their PhD degree while on active duty. Only 3 of 48 test pilots that graduate from TPS per year achieve the grades and scores to be given this opportunity to earn their PhD degrees while on active duty. I currently have 2 of those 3 allocated, so OPL has put Iowa on the test pilot school map. These test pilots do not come to Iowa for its amazingly good weather. They come to Iowa to work at OPL and fly our aircraft while earning a degree, being active duty members of the United States Air Force. We use our airborne test beds to conduct science and engineering tasks that other organizations consider to be too difficult or cumbersome to do. We push our community to test early and often. In doing this, with very capable test beds like the ones shown on the screen, with sophisticated processes and procedures, we can save our customers huge sums of money by finding problems in systems early and identify the correct requirements in those engineered systems at an early stage in the design life cycle where it's actually still possible to change and adapt to changing requirements. Our work at OPL has impact. We have designed systems that save lives. I'll introduce that in a little bit. We have put Iowa on the worldwide flight test map, and we serve our local community with outreach and our men and women in uniform by giving them the tools to succeed as warriors to keep us and our country safe. This picture shows a view into one of our 3 hangars. It'll be on the final exam. How many aircraft do you think are in this hangar? I'll come back to that. A hallmark of OPL is that we use very affordable and capable airframes to act as surrogate test beds for other platforms, such as F-35 or the new F-47. Our fighter jets and 2 of our helicopters are former Soviet aircraft that we have outfitted with the most sophisticated avionics and mission systems available today. We chose those particular aircraft for their affordability. Many organizations have invested in OPL over the 27 years to create and grow and sustain our infrastructure. A relatively small investment in aircraft, totaling no more than $700,000 over the 27 years to acquire these aircraft, 10 manned, 4 unmanned, resulted in a total external funding intake of $38 million. That's a pretty good rate of return. In 2022, the state of Iowa has recognized OPL for its economic impact in the state of Iowa. There are many examples of the tremendous rate a return on investment accomplished at OPL. In 2015, I was able to test the Common Range Integrated Instrumentation System for the Department of Defense because their instrumented F-15 test aircraft was broken a few days before the test was supposed to start, and Collins could not start the production line before that test was completed. This system, as I said, made by Collins, is a $500 million DoD system of record, and I, a University of Iowa professor, was entrusted to be its test pilot. In 2020, a similar story, I was able to first fly a $2 billion tactical combat training system, Increment 2, for the US Navy. Again, this is a Collins product, so a very strong $2 billion tie to the state of Iowa. And again, I was given the honor to fly the system as the first person to ever do that. Back in 2005, NASA put OPL on a $1.2 million contract to develop a synthetic vision system, which is shown in that top picture there. Synthetic vision system generates artificial computer-generated content that allows you to see what's in front of the airplane, even in degraded visual conditions. Subsequently, we commercialized this system through a company called Dynon Avionics, and with over 12,000 units sold, it's now flying in thousands of aircraft. Usually there's 2 displays per aircraft, so I would think somewhere on the order of 5,000 to 6,000 airplanes are now flying with our SVS on board. I want to believe that our system saves lives every day. The recent citation CE-550 crash in San Diego, you may remember that from a couple weeks back, could have been prevented if that aircraft had been outfitted with synthetic vision systems. The University of Iowa has been gracious by funding our work through P3. A recent P3 award to Professor Matt McGill allowed us to purchase a $260,000 Agile pod for our L-39ZA jet aircraft, which is shown in the bottom picture. In that picture, I'm actually flying in Alaska over Denali National Park. So when I flipped it upside down, I could look at Denali, the mountain, Mount McKinley, and it was incredible. This $260,000 Agile pod, which is this gray, little hard to see container on the belly of the aircraft, allows us to test systems for Professor McGill's research. In specific, his research is a $4.5 million NASA project enabled by this $260,000 investment in carrying his equipment on our aircraft. And also Professor Jun Wang's recent $4.9 million air quality forecasting work, and it's probably important if you look at the haze out there from Canadian wildfires. The Agile pod and OPL flight test infrastructure will also be incorporated in an upcoming $180 million NASA proposal that Professor Jun Wang is preparing for the Earth Venture satellite flight space mission. A big part of our research funding is coming from repeat business and referrals. OPL deploys to many test sites such as Edwards Air Force Base, Eglin, White Sands Missile Range, Eielson in Alaska, that's in Fairbanks, or Patuxent River Naval Air Station. The connections we forge at these deployments often form the basis of repeat business or new business. Current and future customers see us working through difficult challenges such as weather, complex missions, and maintenance issues. Many of our test pilot collaborators go on to become high-ranking military leaders who will remember OPL as an agile flight test organization, something that is actually not happening in the Air Force. They're not extremely agile. We are leading the way along those lines. We support many outreach functions. So as you can see in this picture, other than flying fast jets and helicopters, pulling Gs and flying challenging missions in interesting places, seeing the interest that young kids have in aviation is a great motivator for me. I'm doing my part to get them interested in engineering and flight testing in hopes that one day they will choose Iowa as the place where they get their degrees. In 2020, I wrote a proposal to the Air Force Office of Scientific Research to obtain funding to build and install tactical autonomy into our jets. By studying the DoD Program Objectives Memorandums, or POM, they're kind of boring to read, but they tell you a lot. I saw that a lot of funding was being devoted to on- and off-board tactical autonomy using AI. That was in 2020. I wanted to position OPL as a test organization that could evaluate such AI systems in the real world using our aircraft as surrogates. That approach came to fruition recently when OPL tested the Collaborative Combat Aircraft AI kit for Lockheed Skunk Works using the 3 OPL fighter jets that you saw in the earlier picture, and the one pilot controlling these autonomy assets from a touchscreen in the lead aircraft. The Skunk Works organization was founded by Kelly Johnson in the 50s. It is famous in aerospace circles. They brought us the U-2 spy plane, the Mach 3.2 SR-71, the F-117 stealth fighter, which, by the way, contrary to common belief, is still flying, the F-22 Raptor, and the F-35. John Clark, the vice president and general manager at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, said, and I will quote, "The work we are doing with the University of Iowa's OPL is foundational for the future of air combat, where a family of crewed and uncrewed systems will work together to execute complex missions." This work with Skunk Works is continuing. Last year, we started testing a prototype display symbology, the content of a display, on one of our airplanes for the DoD. We were not told what aircraft this was for. Recently, as the Air Force announced the F-47 next generation air dominance fighter, our government contacts told us that the display that we were testing was in fact had lineage to the F-47. We're really proud to be entrusted with testing for this amazing program, and we will continue integrating new capability into its concept of operations. We're also involved in a flight test for the Air Force Next Generation Aerial Refueling System, NGAS, another Vanguard-level project at the Air Force that will lay the foundation of how USAF will refuel its fighters in peer conflicts that involve adversaries with 5th and 6th generation stealth aircraft, heavy surface-to-air defenses, and area denial through electronic warfare. These research and development thrusts will continue involving the use of human autonomy teams, data links, and countermeasures against adversary electronic warfare systems. OPL is well positioned to work with government and industry customers to develop the next generation of systems that will allow the U.S. to keep its dominance, air dominance, in the future. I'm really grateful to the University of Iowa for allowing me to develop and grow OPL. I'm thankful to our great nation and our industrial base for funding many of our projects, $38 million to date, to improve air power. I'm also eternally grateful for being able to work with an amazing group of top-notch people. At the University of Iowa and OPL, we have flown many unique missions. I had the opportunity to fly our helicopter into full brownout at the Yuma Proving Ground, upper left. I'll play that video in a minute. This is, in my humble opinion, the hardest challenge of airmanship, flying a helicopter into a rolling cloud of dirt and dust. I've been able to fly one of our jets during Northern Edge in Alaska. I told you about that a little earlier. With 30 other fighter jets, we launch all at once, basically within 10 minutes, everyone's flying. It's pretty exciting. Over Denali. I've flown in over the Trinity site in the middle of the night during GPS-denied operations, where you couldn't really use your GPS to tell where you were. I had the amazing opportunity to fly our jets with AI-controlled, jet-powered drones, 6-foot model airplanes that go Mach 0.9 right outside my cockpit. I have been given the opportunity to be the initial tester of billion-dollar systems of records, and I get to work with our nation's best test pilots, teaching them new techniques and learning something new myself on every one of the flights I take with these brilliant individuals. I could show you hundreds of cool videos and get carried away. That's why I actually read from a script, so I don't get carried away. So I'm showing you 4 examples of that to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like from my viewpoint in the cockpit. So this is at the Yuma Proving Ground in Yuma, Arizona. the area where I'm landing this helicopter is being tilled by a guy on a brand new John Deere with like a disker. You know, it looks really hilarious. You see this guy plowing the desert. Nothing's growing there at all. But the dust is not beach sand. It is more like talcum powder. And when you get close to the ground, the helicopter gets engulfed in a cloud of dust. And this is not just robbing my ability to see. It's very, very strong, gives you strong illusions of motion because the cloud of dirt is rolling. Depending on where you look, you have a feeling of falling heels over head or head over heels. So it's a very tough flying environment. We did this because not only do we want to own the night in our helicopter flying tactics, but we want to own the dirt, we want to own the dust, we want to own degraded visual environments at every type of situation. I'm showing this picture. Hey, it's good visuals. This is us coming back from a 3-ship sortie for that Lockheed Skunk Works AI testing project that I mentioned before. Here's an interesting twist. So professor sits in the lead aircraft. My 2 graduate students are in the wing aircraft. So I go up and fly, sometimes fight with my students doing these missions. This is probably the only place in the whole United States, maybe the world, where this actually happens. Very proud of that. In that particular, on that mission, every airplane has a pilot in it. So we use AI not to let these jets go fly on their own. That would be something I've done in military ranges with these 6-foot jet drones outside my cockpit. But this is much easier logistically if you have humans being able to take over if something doesn't work out as we're testing, and we can very quickly adapt and change the software that controls the aircraft. So that's ongoing, and we are about to get a new contract from Lockheed. This video here is actually very young. It's probably a week old. Once or twice a year, I go out to Pax River in Maryland and teach a course on helicopter handling qualitative evaluation to graduates, not graduates yet, they graduate a few weeks later, test pilot students at the Naval Test Pilot School. So, believe it or not, this looks like it's in a very rural place. It's actually on the base. They have one corner of the base where you have this river, and when you fly around, you have to contend with bald eagles who will stand their ground. They will not move for the helicopter. You have to move. Trees, water, and if you look closely in the water, you can see schools of manta rays. And we're exploring the envelope of the helicopter. Specifically, the student is sampling the helicopter. I sit there pretending to be very chill and bored about the whole thing, but I'm ready to take the control. As a good instructor pilot, you don't want to be hovering over the controls, giving the student a sense like you don't give him any slack. But they don't have much slack. I'm very careful in that way. So this video here is, you know, a symbol of many flights I have done carrying electronic systems on the hardpoint. This particular one is the $2 billion program I told you about, the TCTS-2. If you've seen Top Gun 1, you've seen the flight instructor in the debriefing telling Maverick how stupid of a move he made by pointing at the computer screen of the situation of where everyone was when they took their shots. That was the old system. This is TCTS version 2, so the new system that took over. It's instrumental and very important for the training of our fighter pilots in our nation. And everyone, when they go up and they do their training sorties, gets scored, and every shot is being adjudicated through that system to make sure no one claims shots that were invalid, and you kind of get punished if you take invalid shots, because in the real world they wouldn't work. So that was the videos. Here's some, bumper stickers that we collect over the years. It's probably not a complete list. This is maybe the big ones. 427 projects, many of them with the same sponsor due to repeat business, but sometimes we build new relationships. For example, BAE Systems spun off from the Collins GPS unit. It's brand new in our area. I got a contract to go down to White Sands Missile Range, specifically a little austere airfield called Stallion Field, for 2 weeks in the fall and fly at night during GPS-denied operations, where the Army, they gather up all the electronic systems and they test them at the White Sands Missile Range, and we'll be there to do that. So, how many are there? It's a trick question. You couldn't answer this. I counted 11 of them in there. So, and I don't have a pointer. I think I don't. Maybe I do. It's not ergonomic. So only the laser. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one here, 6, 7 in the background, 8. But there's a UAV down here, 9. There's another one, 10, and another one, 11. So we are using our space very efficiently, and this is just one of 3 hangars. So with that, I'm sorry, maybe I went a little long, but if you have questions, I'd be happy and honored to answer them for you.
Regent Barker.
Well, I just want to say, several years ago, when I was a new regent, I learned that there was someone flying drones around the area from the university. And I mentioned it to President Mike Richards, and he said, you know, you'd better get out there and figure out what the heck is going on. And so I went out to the airport and I met Tom, and I was first very impressed with the focus on safety, also with the focus on efficiency, and like he said, when you see that hangar and how many planes he fits in, you know it's an efficient operation, but also that the funding goes into the work, not into fancy offices. You'll notice that also if you're in the area. But he does contribute so many things. I mean, dollars to the University of Iowa, opportunities for students, service and support to industry in Iowa, and most importantly, significant contributions to national security. So I'm very glad to see you getting this recognition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Regent Hensley.
Wow, I had no idea that the university had a program like this. Absolutely none. I mean, I just am really impressed. So my question is, do we ever get to go up in one of those planes? As a regent, don't you think I need to know and understand this a little bit better?
Unfortunately, we have operating limitations on them being experimental aircraft, where that will be difficult to accomplish. But
Good answer.
I will be super thrilled to show you the operations. Maybe when we have flight ops going on, it's quite exciting, and it's hard to explain in PowerPoint slides, by the way. I don't think it can really be done.
Yep.
You have to see it.
It's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions or comments? What an absolutely wonderful program, and it must be amazing to be in your shoes and to be able to do all of this. So thank you so very much, and it was a very well-earned award yesterday.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. This concludes the board's business. This meeting of the Iowa Board of Regents is adjourned.
Boy, was that impressive. I had to ask because, you know, on the city council, I asked if I could ever go up in an F-16.
Yeah.
And I did. I got